this episode,
He's digging his own grave.
the Mythbusters take on the mob. Searching for Jimmy Hoffa under Giant Stadium.
Really don't want to know who put him here.
They test the taxi tornado. Can a jet engine blow a car right off the road? And braving the daddy long legs. Is it really the world's most venomous spider? Who are the Mythbusters?
Am I missing an eyebrow?
Adam Savage.
I always enjoyed seeing Adam in pain.
Oh! And Jamie Heineman.
Jamie wants big boom.
Between them, more than 30 years special effects experience.
Feel kind of sexy.
They don't just tell the myths,
Farewell, cruel.
they put them to the test.
Jimmy's supposed to be over here, right? Hey, slow down!
Jamie and Adam have always wanted to play at Giant Stadium just outside New York City.
Yeah, the ground feels great on your feet, doesn't it?
Yeah. What's meant to?
It's like carpeting.
Their game isn't football. It's something far more sinister.
What are we here to do? We're looking for Jimmy Hoffa. Well, here we are in New Jersey, Giant Stadium. What other myth could we be doing?
It has something to do with Hoffa, doesn't it?
Exactly. This stadium is supposedly the final resting place of Union boss Jimmy Hoffa.
The residents know all about this story.
Coach, have you heard the myth about Jimmy Hoffa being buried here at Giant Stadium?
Oh, absolutely. That's the first thing I heard about when I was here in '91. I was assistant coach.
What have you heard about it?
Well, everybody says he's buried right here on the 10-yard line, probably about a foot behind where you stand right there. There used to be a hump right there.
A hump?
Yeah, and there was even the story, and it's true, that a player was running for a touchdown and tripped over the hump and fell down, and they said that's right, tripped over where Hoffa was buried.
Jimmy Hoffa was a ferocious fighter for workers' rights. As powerful head of the Teamsters, he was investigated over alleged mob connections and misuse of union funds.
Expenditures that I needed at that time, I can't recall offhand. And this was in cash also? That's right. And no collateral, no, that's right. And no interest paid. That's right.
Teamster boss James Hoffa surrenders to U.S. Marshals to begin serving an 8-year prison term for...
In fact, he only served 4 years after the sentence was commuted in 1971. But in July 1975, he disappeared without a trace from a Michigan parking lot. Many believe he was murdered by the mob to stop him from regaining control of the Teamsters.
Why do people think he's here in Newark, New Jersey?
Well, there is actually a little bit of evidence to that fact. The FBI got a tip that he was buried in concrete here at Giant Stadium. And the stadium was built between 1974 and 1976. So the construction window is correct if someone had a very sick sense of humor that they might have buried him here.
The best way to answer this myth is just to dig up Giant Stadium. But it's very big, and time is short. So the Mythbusters have another high-tech idea, and they'll test it back at the workshop. They're a little out of practice. To replicate this myth, first up they're digging a hole in the concrete, big enough to conceal a body.
You know, something tells me today is going to be really unpleasant.
Adam doesn't know it yet, but he's digging his own grave.
What's that?
What? Nothing.
The guys have already learned one thing. It's hard work hiding a body.
The guys that buried Jimmy Hoffa, wherever that might be, were probably doing it in the middle of the night, and they were probably a little bit more preoccupied about what they were doing than we are.
Jimmy Hoffa's murderers may have had a backhoe. I mean, we're talking about the East Coast mob.
Right now, Adam would kill for a backhoe. But things are about to get worse.
Gloves, get your Tyvek suit on.
For the next part of this test, they need a body or two. The idea came from another Mythbusters misadventure involving a Corvette and a deceased pig.
Oh, God. This is horrifying.
Yes, it's Porky's return.
Oh, I can definitely smell it through the mask. It's pretty rank.
These guys died of natural causes down on the farm, but their final resting place is entirely unnatural.
And the flies are buzzing all over them bad boys.
You've got to feel sorry for PJ. He's just delivering the cement.
Yeah.
So, PJ, specifically, have you ever heard about the fact that Jimmy Hoffa is supposedly buried in concrete?
I've heard that he's buried on the 50-yard line at the Meadowlands. He disappeared so smooth and so clean. I don't think you'll ever find a trace of him. And the fact that everybody feels that he's buried there, he's probably long gone.
The Mythbusters will try the same vanishing trick with the pigs.
Is that good? Stop. The smell is, it's pretty bad. All right, hold on, here we go. Okay. Boy, that stinks.
Everyone here and everyone for 5 miles downwind is hoping PJ's cement will seal in that smell.
How long for this to set?
Not long. Those gases might seep and escape while this mud is hardening up.
I swear I think I can smell it through the concrete.
Oh, hello. Its smell bubbles up as if to say, hello.
The quicker they dig in, the quicker the smell will go away. Or so they hope.
That ought to do.
I want you to sign this little waiver here just in case the sidewalk explodes or whatever.
Okay.
And they'll say, well, PJ's cleared on that. Okay. It's all in the name of science, though,
It is
right?
all in the name of science, exactly.
But it's more than science at stake here. According to folklorist Heather Joseph Witham, the Hoffa myth is buried deep in the American psyche.
We tell stories about Hoffa because he's this wonderful American hero, anti-hero, because he's the quintessential American worker, and because there's this tremendous mystery surrounding his death. And it involves the Teamsters Union, it involves mob bosses. It's a wonderfully American story. In essence, it's a great mystery.
It's a mystery to the guys how that pig smell is still escaping the hard concrete 2 weeks after the burial.
Without a doubt, we completely failed to take into account how tenacious the smell of rotting dead pigs can be. It's caught us in every way that it could catch us.
In desperation, Jamie covers the whole stinking slab in a latex seal. It's a timely lesson for our trainee mobsters. Out of sight is not always out of mind.
If you were some kind of a nefarious person trying to do something like this, I would suspect that you might have a similar problem unless you were really careful.
It's something to ponder. Those pigs will teach them everything they need to know before embarking on the hunt for Hoffa. It's the taxi ride from hell. You just wanted to go to the airport, but end up getting blown away.
That was really cool, and that really sucked. The story goes that at the Rio de Janeiro airport, there is a road that runs right behind their main runway. And there's a red light there that keeps you from going across that road when there's a plane about to take off. But a taxi driver ran the light and found himself stuck in the jet wash of a 737 about to take off at full throttle.
And his taxi gets thrown up 25 meters in the air and flips over 3 times and falls down, and the guy's hospitalized with pretty serious injuries.
A 737 blowing a taxi off a runway? That's a myth to get Jamie and Adam interested.
Well, it kind of makes sense. I mean, those have thousands of pounds of thrust, don't they?
Apparently they do. This is what's coming up for us to test.
So the challenge is to see if jet engines are powerful enough to roll a car. Big machines and wrecking stuff. The Mythbusters' 2 favorite things. First things first, they need to hail a cab.
Here you've got a cab for sale.
Yeah, we do. This is a 1999 Chrysler or Dodge Intrepid.
Sure, the Mythbusters plan to destroy this cab, but no one wants a lemon.
Is it okay if we drive it around the lot once?
Well, yeah, just don't leave the lot.
Okay.
It would be quite an elaborate way to steal a car, wouldn't it? Bring your own camera crew?
Yeah.
$900, not bad for a 3-year-old car.
Yeah.
What do you guys want them for?
Well, have you ever heard the myth about the airplane that started up its jets and blew a taxi off the runway?
Nope.
Well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to try and get a jet to blow this thing around, see whether it actually works or not.
Hey, as long as the price is right, you guys can do anything you want.
$900 seems a small price to pay for this level of destruction.
I got taxi receipts for the next 10 years. Oh, yeah.
Proud owners of a stylish new set of wheels, the Mythbusters now have some pretty serious modifications to make.
We need to rig the car for remote control because we are going to be driving it behind a jet airplane as it takes off. And what it'll do to this car is going to be pretty impressive, I believe. And I don't want to be inside there when it happens.
So, they're creating a full-size, remote-controlled taxi. But there's an annoying speed bump that develops on the way.
Okay.
Who'd have thought? Cheap car, dud battery.
Well, it seems that you had to take the car tire off to change the battery. I mean, what is the point? It's probably because somebody built the damn thing in a computer and doesn't have any sense. Piece of crap.
While Jamie curses all things modern, over in the art department, everything's sweetness and light.
I'm making a stencil so that we can stencil our taxi cab with the Mythbusters Taxi Company logo. We're going to spray this on the front of the car and on the hood and on the sides of the car.
Well, I've got the old battery out now, finally, and the new one in, so we'll see whether this piece of shit can start.
It lives. And now, to tame the beast, Jamie's an old hand at fitting remote controls to cars. In fact, he gets quite a kick out of it. For this job, he'll need remote control of the accelerator, brakes, and steering wheel.
There'll be 3 controls, and I'll be able to operate this car from, I don't know, a couple thousand feet away or something.
First up, the throttle.
We simply remove the cable from the cruise control and have hooked it up to this little servo here with a special fitting that I make for this very purpose.
That little motor will pull the throttle cable when Jamie gives the order. Jamie's got a lead thumb. Next up, the brakes. A remote-controlled piston is welded to the pedal. It'll act as a kind of bionic leg.
When you're welding, you can't really see other things that are going on around you. You know, you can see the weld okay, but not little bonfires that happen to be starting right all around you.
While Jamie plays fireman, Adam is moonlighting as a sign painter.
I love it when works out. All right, let's put some taxi stripes on this puppy. I think Jamie and I should drive around and pick people up.
With nobody in the front seat.
Not without a remote control steering wheel, they won't. This job is proving a little trickier than expected.
It's going to blow the steering servo right off.
So, in the interests of safety, the airbag is coming out.
This actually makes me kind of nervous. You know, this is like a bomb sitting right here.
Did someone say bomb?
Now, I think if I take these two little wires right here and hook up current to them, we get a boom.
Adam and Jamie engage in some lighthearted fun.
As usual, Buster, the long-suffering crash test dummy, will bear the brunt of this harmless fun.
All right.
We'll see if we can't get Buster to do a somersault.
Can I do it?
Go ahead. Oh well. I'm thinking that I'm just going to sock this pulley right onto the two holes that are centered on this steering wheel. When I'm done, this will stay rigid and the steering wheel will turn, like so.
Nothing to it, really.
Seems like it's working.
Another Heinemann triumph. Sometimes he makes things look a little too easy. Adam's got another bone to pick.
There's a reason I wear black so I can get really dirty and it's harder to tell. Jamie is wearing a white shirt. His hands look like he's a coal miner, and I'm having trouble spotting a stain on the damn shirt. It just makes me want to shake his hand and then slap it on his chest.
So they finished their magic taxi, and now it's time to take it on a road trip to destruction. Of course, no adventure is complete without the forgotten Mythbuster.
Buster's got to get dressed and get in the cab so we can go, and we're all waiting on Buster. He's not luggage, he's the star of this show.
Okay, well then, that means that every time we move the car, we have to remove Buster.
No, he doesn't go in, he can go in the passenger seat, that's all, the passenger seat.
Okay.
He seems a little reluctant to come along for the ride.
There you go. Jamie's much stronger than I am. I'd say he's unusually strong.
Everyone knows this trip will end badly for the taxi, and probably Buster too. But undeterred, the Mythbusters ride on, in search of a 737 jet willing to blow their car off the road. Dawn in the Mojave Desert, and the Mythbusters are on a mission. This is where America's airplanes come to die, or at least rest for a while.
We're here at the Mojave Desert Airport at a storage facility where they keep jet airplanes when they're not in service.
Even though it's 6 in the morning and I am not the greatest morning person alive, I'm in an airport salvage yard with huge husks of planes around me. I'm in pig heaven.
They've come to this junkyard nirvana to test the jet taxi myth, which claims the jet blast from a 737 on a Brazilian runway blew a taxi right off the road. To the Mythbusters, this seems a disaster worth recreating, so they've converted their very own taxi to remote control.
Oh, I've had nights like that.
Yeah.
It's not that maneuverable, but we don't need it to be. We just need to get it out and into the jet wash, and we're golden.
Now, there are two vital ingredients to this myth: the taxi, which they have, and a jet, which they don't yet. But they have arranged for one to be waiting just across the airfield. Jamie is getting excited.
I guess the biggest excitement is that we really don't know for sure what it's going to do. Those jets have an awful lot of power, so you got to think that it's just going to pick this cab up and throw it.
I think this taxi is just going to turn into like a leaf in that kind of blast.
Now, it's hard to miss a 737 in an open field. But here's a worry. Theirs is conspicuously and disturbingly absent.
Hello. Yep. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yep.
The insurance company has decided the stunt could damage the aircraft and pulled the plug.
The whole reason this is an issue is because we can't control, we don't know what the jet will do to the taxi.
That there's no way in hell that taxi is going to do anything but go farther away from the jet.
There will be no plane on the ground, and there is certainly no love in the air.
That we got a yes yesterday and a no today. It's just like, it's driving me crazy. There it goes. That's our plane, man. That was our destiny. Oh, that would have flipped our taxi. I want to see a taxi flip. You know, we came all the way down here where they've got a plethora, a congerie of planes, and, you know, we can't get one started up. And there's so many bazillion different reasons why we can't get one started up. It would boggle your mind if I explained even 5 of them.
But the show must go on, and the Mythbusters are moving to Plan B.
Plan B, I believe, involves a separate engine without an airplane that we can hire to be brought to where our car is, and that'll do the job.
They're going to bring in 2 jet engines to be operated off stands. It won't make Adam feel better, but the fact he found this story on the internet really doesn't mean it actually happened.
I can't tell anymore whether a newspaper story online is true or false. It's really just impossible because a lot of the internet legends appear as news items. And newspapers often pick up urban legends and repeat them as news.
Early the next morning, the Mythbusters' new grounded engines arrive. They're normally used to generate wind for movie special effects.
These engines are turbojet engines, and they're at the nozzle, at the tailpipe nozzle, we have about 400 miles an hour as far as I could measure.
Do you think we'll be successful today at flipping our taxi over?
It's a difficult project. I have no idea. It'd be interesting.
The plan is to fire up the jet engines, then drive the taxi past at a range of 20 feet. That's where the combined blast should be the strongest.
I wouldn't really want to be in the car when it goes by them, but I'm not so sure that it's going to be that dramatic.
I think the whole thing's just going to go and roll over 3 or 4 times. I think Jamie's being a little pessimistic.
There we go. That's a good one.
All right, Buster. You ready to fly?
Let's go. Start them up.
They might be smaller than a 737, but these jet engines still pack a punch. A combined output of about 7,000 pounds per square inch. Now, like the Myth, the cab will take its chances running the gauntlet through the jet wash. It was a rough ride, but the cab didn't look like it was being flipped.
It affected the car.
Yeah,
It made it wiggle a little bit.
whoa! It took the gasket out of the door. I gotta say, I was a little disappointed. And not only because Jamie was right and I was wrong.
What we'll do this time is just park the car in the absolute optimal spot for the jets to hit them, and we'll let those guys aim them correctly, and we'll see what happens.
The jet engines are moved in, closer to each other and closer to the car.
Ready to go?
Ready to go. Let's
All right.
go.
Let's get everyone going.
Attention everybody, we are ready to go.
If the near side rises just enough, the blast will bounce under the car and flip it. They have to abort early. This is a working airport, and debris is flying all over the runway. First, the taxi sign, then the front fender. The back fender and the mirrors were taking off next.
You know, that was cool and that sucked all at the same time. That was really cool and that really sucked.
And here's an unexpected development.
That's a hot car.
Yeah, it was smoking.
Well,
The blast from the jet engines has heated the car up.
There's every possibility that we could set the car on fire. That got it really hot. The whole car was starting to smoke.
In fact, that was more likely than they realized. The fuel lines have been torn out too. Adam does not want to play with fire.
That looks like gas. Jamie,
Yeah.
we should get this off the runway. I'm disinclined to proceed when we've got a leaking fuel tank and we're pointing flaming jets at this car, but we're going to try and siphon it out.
While the tank is being emptied, the jet engines are being moved to a safer position for one last try.
Nicely done, Jamie.
Is that good?
Keep going, keep going.
And a few modifications are made to help the taxi on its way.
We're just trying to get this car to flip. We know it can flip. We're just trying to help it along. We've let the tires out on one side. We put it on a little bit of a slope. We are jacking up the side that faces the wind, and we should get a rolling cab.
If this doesn't work, it's safe to say it never will with these engines. The meter is running, and time is nearly up for this Myth. It's official. The flip is a flop.
I think this is a first for us. It's a Mythbusters failure. We're unable, through reasons of technology and, well, insurance brokers, to make it happen. What do we say here? Do we say that the Mythbusters are busted?
Well, you know, we just couldn't afford the right jet, is what it amounts to.
Wah, wah, wah. Let's call that a day.
But it's not quite a day. Turns out this one really is true. In January 2002, Rio de Janeiro TV News captured the aftermath. A taxi did indeed drive along an airport access road at the wrong time, and a revved-up 737 blew the car 75 feet, injuring the driver. And the Mythbusters thought they had a bad day. It's been several months since Jamie and Adam buried 2 pigs in concrete outside their workshop. They're hoping it will help them bust the myth Jimmy Hoffa is buried at Giant Stadium.
Hi, Dick. Adam Savage.
They've enlisted the help of Dick Sylvester, who's skilled in the use of ground-penetrating radar.
Dick, can you walk us through exactly how ground-penetrating radar actually works?
Certainly. The antenna right here is a little radio transmitter and receiver. And so pulses are sent to the antenna, and these radio transmit pulses go into the ground. And where there's a change in soil properties, or there's an object underground, then the reflections return and are printed on the graphic recorder we've been looking at.
You just drag it? Is that it?
So this orange box transmits a signal down into the ground. If there's a body or a cavity where a body used to be, it should show up on this screen.
What this is showing you, the ground surface is here, and these are features underneath the ground surface.
Dick, have you ever used your ground-penetrating radar to look for bodies?
Yes, as a matter of fact, in Alaska, where they wanted to move some burial grounds of natives, we used the radar system up there to map the bodies, and then they excavated them and moved them.
But how will this fancy piece of equipment perform through solid concrete?
All right.
Will Porky show up?
Ready?
Yeah.
Go.
Jamie has to make a series of passes over the area.
If I saw this, that would tell me that that's rebar in the concrete.
And in fact, there are 4 lengths of rebar.
There are.
See? You can't hide that from me.
All right, good. Yeah, we forgot about that.
Another crossing, another reading, and sure enough, clear signs of the secret lurking beneath.
But
that's correct.
What I'm seeing is here's a rebar,
yeah,
and then I'm seeing this is very particular to the area. It looks like this feature, which I don't see below, and I don't see above, and I don't see on either side, which leads me to believe.
Yeah, so the white pattern here is a change in reflectivity characteristics. So it says you have some object there that's different than the dirt that we've been looking at on either side.
Exactly.
In the psychedelic readout of the monitor, it's hard to picture exactly what's going on down there. There's really only one way to find out, and it will not be pretty.
We've got some pigs that have been in the ground for 5 months. We've seen what kind of profile they draw on the ground-penetrating radar. And in our preparation to search for Jimmy Hoffa, the last step is to crack open the sidewalk and see what they look like down there.
It's possible Egyptian archaeologists experienced similar emotions as they were about to open a tomb for the first time. Possible, but unlikely.
Check that out. We cracked the seal, man. Look, it's like an open void in there. And I gotta tell you, I don't miss that smell.
was kind of looking forward to this, but that first strong whiff, it's just, it's not fun doing this.
It's just plain wrong. Wow, can you see that? Can you see, I see a pig, oh man, a pig-shaped armhole. Oh man. You know, I'm thinking maybe we take the night shot camera and put it down there instead of going down there ourselves.
Okay.
Oh!
Well, let's get this cleared out.
Irresistible curiosity is a cruel master. It's got the better of the Mythbusters again.
Put it in slowly. There we go.
That's it.
Go down farther and tilt up. Oh, that is disgusting.
Sure, but he's still looking.
Just a tiny bit. Oh, yeah, look at that. And to your left. Nicely done. Hey, Jamie.
Yeah?
I think we have determined one main thing that we wanted to know, which was that a decomposing body in concrete will form a cavity.
Yeah, that's true.
We've shown that. So that's exactly what we're going to look for with the ground penetrating radar. So, you know, our work is kind of done. We can just fill this in and we're ready to go.
I won't argue about that.
At last, they can put a lid on this rotten chapter for good. But they've learned what happens to a body buried in concrete.
It doesn't smell anymore.
And how to find it with a radar. The Mythbusters are ready to begin the search for Hoffa. It's a myth to sink your fangs into. Arachnophobics need not apply.
Oh, this is terrible.
Is the daddy longlegs really a deadly killer?
All right, big guy, what is the myth? What do we got now?
The myth is that the daddy longlegs spider is actually the most toxic spider in the world. But the problem is that their fangs are so short that they can't penetrate human skin.
If it's true, this would surely be nature's cruelest trick. Venom to kill an ox, fangs to kill a gnat. But imagine all that poison hanging around our homes. He's not letting on, but Adam's afraid of spiders, a fact certain to come back to bite him sometime in this myth. But for now, he's bravely joining the hunt.
I guess, you know, they live in garages and under houses and stuff, and I have a garage. Do you have a garage?
I have a garage. Maybe we should head over there and try and catch some.
All right.
And so the Mythbusters descend into the dark and hidden places beneath Jamie's house.
These just might be the deadliest spiders alive.
They'll need a lot for what they have in mind.
Got him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jamie's boldly delving in. Adam's doing his best. Turns out this is Daddy Longlegs Central.
Crikey. Ooh. Oh, that's a good one. Jamie, I'm curious why your house turned out to be spider heaven.
I like spiders. We have them as pets. It was about that big. Yeah, it was as big as a dinner plate. We fed it mice.
They've wrangled about 40 spiders.
Got it. All right. There we go.
Now, to test this myth, they have to extract some venom. They also have to find out how toxic it is. They'll measure the spider's fangs to see if they're long enough to pierce skin. And last, as a conclusive test, enter the tube of death. But that's later. First, the Mythbusters need an expert spider milker. They've lured arachnologist Chuck Christensen into their web.
How do you get venom out of something this small?
Well, actually, if you make your tools small enough and you use enough magnification, it looks quite large.
I'm hooking up a spider milking pump.
First, to stop the spider struggling and hurting itself, it has to be put into a shallow sleep.
How do we anesthetize a spider?
Okay, we use carbon dioxide gas.
If they go to sleep or do they die?
They go to sleep and they'll come back. They should be fine.
The sleeping spider is carefully positioned on a special clamp.
So we'll take the spider in, we'll put it, position it with the fangs on the opposite side of this.
What we need to draw the venom out of the spider is like the longest, thinnest, hollow tube you can possibly imagine. It makes your average, like, insulin syringe look like a 10-penny nail.
That's made by heating and stretching out the tiniest glass pipette until it's hair thin. Under a microscope, the tube is positioned near the fangs. Then a really clever trick. A tiny electric shock is delivered through the clamp, which induces the spider to produce venom.
Okay, there's a little bit of venom coming out.
Oh, I see it. There it is. Look at that. That's excellent.
Okay, that's the venom we got right there.
Excellent.
So that's just a few nanoliters of venom, a few billionths of a liter of venom.
Science in action.
A few billionths of a liter of venom. It's a shame they're not doing this experiment with the Australian funnel web. They're cranky little guys, and by comparison, their fangs are venom fire hoses. It would take an awfully long time to get enough Daddy Longlegs venom to carry out a meaningful test.
For one drop, we need about maybe 100, 200, 500 spiders, just for one drop of venom.
A really good spider milker can work through 100 spiders an hour. It's a challenge no self-respecting Mythbuster could pass up.
So I take a sleepy spider.
Can you see the fangs there?
I can. Okay. Ooh, yeah.
It's really hard working this small. You have to have a very steady hand.
That's it. Oh, that's hard work. So there may be venom in there, there may not.
As spider milkers, the Mythbusters make good TV hosts. But how toxic is this venom? Chuck's research can help with that too. Under strictly controlled conditions, with a vet present, he's compared the impact of Daddy Longlegs venom and Black Widow venom on mice. The results were clear.
With the Black Widow, we had a much stronger reaction. It was the same amount of venom, so clearly the Black Widow venom is much more potent.
So we've already busted one part of the myth, at least, in that the Daddy Longlegs venom is not the most toxic in the world. The Black Widow venom is clearly more toxic.
Exactly.
The Black Widow is generally regarded as the most poisonous spider in North America. On the world stage, the Brazilian wandering spider takes the points, ahead of the funnel web. But that doesn't mean the guys are finished with the Daddy Longlegs myth.
Well, I guess the only other thing now is to find out if the Daddy Longlegs can actually bite a human.
And that would mean if the fangs are long enough and if they're powerful enough to stick it through human skin.
Yeah.
Our skin can be as thin as 1/10 of a millimeter.
There's a fang right there. Oh, those are so tiny.
Under the microscope, it's clear the fangs, though small, are longer than that.
That's 1/4 of a millimeter. That's more than long enough to break through the dead layer of skin on an average person.
A bunch of green links.
Which leaves just one test left. A test of nerve in the tube of death. For arachnophobic Adam, it's his biggest nightmare. But urban legend is full of spider horror stories.
There's a spider's nest in the woman's beehive, which was the fashionable hairdo of the day. And then the eggs hatch and kill the woman. Or you have someone who gets bitten on the face by a spider, but they think it's a mosquito bite or a pimple, and instead it fills up and gets bigger and bigger, and then it just bursts and all these little spiders go crawling all over her face and she dies.
Adam's coming clean.
I should perhaps mention at this point that I do suffer from a small amount of spider phobia, otherwise known as arachnophobia.
If he was hoping for sympathy, he's sorely let down.
Oh, that's funky. Oh, I don't like this at all. This is really awful.
The idea is to encourage the spiders to bite. If Adam survives, it's the ultimate myth busted.
This is like your worst nightmare, but you feel when you're sticking your hand in something. Ah. Oh, this is terrible.
All their information says he's perfectly safe, but right now, rational thought isn't coming easily.
We haven't seen any evidence at all of lethal daddy long-legged spiders.
Not yet. Oh, dude. Can I take my arm out of here?
No way, man.
Oh.
The only way Adam's getting out is with bite marks. And at last, a spider seems willing to oblige.
Ooh. Yeah, I think I just got bitten right here.
You got bit?
Yeah. I felt
right.
a little bit of like just like a tiny little burning. But he landed right on my index finger, and I felt a little tiny burning. I looked, and he was down, and he came up, and he walked away, and now it's like, it's already gone.
Yeah,
I don't feel
exactly.
anything.
Exactly. That's it. That's it.
Well, that's not that toxic. Hell, it ain't so bad.
Adam survived his worst nightmare. He's feeling braver already. Even better, they've comprehensively busted the daddy long legs myth.
Congratulations.
I got bit.
You deserve it.
When former Teamsters boss Jimmy Hoffa disappeared in 1975, everyone blamed the mob. But no one was ever convicted of the killing, and nor has his body been found. The mystery has intrigued the country ever since.
In one legend, his remains were disintegrated in a rendering plant. In others, his body was encased in concrete and put in a strip club in Los Angeles. In other stories, he's in Florida swamps. He's at the bottom of numerous lakes, particularly around Michigan, where he disappeared.
And he is also said to be somewhere here at Giant Stadium in New Jersey.
Does the myth do anything, add mystique to the team?
Well, I think the players talk about it, and the young players probably don't even know if the older players haven't talked about it. But if you're here and you work here and you're a coach player, you know that this is a spot that everybody says it's not the.
The Mythbusters have honed their body-finding skills, practicing with ground-penetrating radar on buried pigs, and are ready to shake this myth up.
So what happens if we actually find him?
I tell you what, you'll remove all the myth. It's fact, but you're gonna have a hard time. I think it's probably pretty deep in there.
Adam and Jamie have never been afraid of going deep. They'll search the locations most often referred to in the myth.
We need to hit section 107.
Yep.
We need to hit the 50-yard line, the end zones, and then there's the bump on the 10-yard line, I believe.
The 10-yard bump.
Yeah.
Everybody,
go. First, the 50-yard line. As Jamie drags the radar across the hallowed turf, Dick can see exactly what's happening in the mysterious soil beneath.
The target, it's where it should have been. It's all uniform.
There's nothing buried here, but the system is working perfectly.
So we would definitely be able to see like a big Jimmy Hoffa-shaped void in the structure on the concrete.
Absolutely. That's correct.
And we didn't see it.
No, not yet.
But they have just begun to search. The next target, Section 107.
How's it looking?
It's all pretty uniform across here. Go ahead on row 6.
Go ahead.
The Mythbusters are doing a comprehensive sweep of all 41 rows. If Hoffa is hogging a high-priced seat, they'll soon know about it.
The data was excellent. There was no anomalous features that I would interpret as being a body.
So nothing looked at all like our pigs in concrete.
It did not. There was no features like the pigs.
All right, well, what's next?
Let's go on to the next site.
All right. Over here.
Start your run.
Go.
Maybe the Mythbusters will score in the end zone.
All right. End of number 2. We're in the perfect position.
But what if they do? It's not a prospect to be taken lightly.
We're not disrespecting Jimmy here. Not at all. We're not making any statements about his politics whatsoever. All we're interested in is taking some science to the myth. Whether or not he's here. Don't even want to know who put him here. I really don't want to know who put him here. If someone told me who put him here, I'd forget about it.
Adam can breathe a little easier for now.
Nothing? Nothing.
Jimmy is not in the end zone. They have just one last target.
I'm putting the flag roughly where the bump is supposed to be. Coach told us that in his opinion there is no other place that Jimmy Hoffa is supposed to be buried but right here on the 10-yard line, 3 feet this side of the 10, what they call the bump.
Go ahead, Jamie.
Go.
This is the most anticipated pass of the whole adventure.
You gonna pull it?
I am. Did you get anything there?
Right here is where he went by the bump.
Yeah.
As you can see, it's pretty uniform all the way down through.
The same as other stuff.
Right.
No bodies. There's nothing but testosterone, sweat, and desperation at the 10-yard line. The Mythbusters have come up empty, but the Hoffa legend will live on.
I think if Mythbusters doesn't find anything at Meadowlands Stadium, it actually won't impact the legend or the belief at all.
Don't you say that I'm a communist.
He's so tied up in the fabric of what it means to be American that I imagine his legend will last for a very long time.
But there is any... Don't use this as a sounding board for headlines for that purpose.
The mystery of Hoffa's final resting place remains just that. But at least the Mythbusters have shown for sure where he isn't.
So what's the verdict?
Well, we searched every one of the mythic sites at Giant Stadium. Section 107.
Busted.
The 50-yard line.
Busted.
The end zones.
Busted.
And the famous and notorious 10-yard bump.
Busted.
Jimmy Hoffa may be somewhere, but it sure as heck ain't here at Giant Stadium. I'd say we can go home calling this myth busted, the kingdom come.
Okay.
Are you satisfied?
I'm satisfied.
Well, act satisfied.
What do you want?
I want to go home.
I'll go home then. Shut up.
Shut up.